Russian fighter jets are fleeing in panic. Airbases that once symbolized dominance are burning to ashes. And the Kerch Bridge, the lifeline of Russia's illegal occupation, has been abruptly shut down. Streets once filled with tourists and summer dreams are now clogged with convoys of terrified families, desperate to escape as the peninsula plunges into chaos. This is not just a tactical blow. This is a psychological earthquake shaking the very foundations of Putin's imperial fantasy. And the most astonishing part, this entire operation wasn't born out of desperation. It was a masterstroke of strategy. Months in planning, combining cutting-edge technology, relentless intelligence work, and the unbreakable will of a nation fighting for survival. So, buckle up, because what you're about to hear is not another news update. It's the inside story of how Ukraine is dismantling Russia's war machine, piece by piece, and why this moment could define the future of global security. Before we dive deep, hit that like button, subscribe for more hard-hitting truth, and share this video because the world needs to know what's really happening beyond the Kremlin's lies. Now, let's rewind and see how this storm gathered over Crimea. For years, Russia sold the illusion that Crimea was untouchable. Since its illegal annexation in 2014, Moscow transformed the peninsula into a fortress, multi-layered air defense systems, sprawling military bases, strategic naval hubs, and the crowning jewel, the Kerch Bridge, a multi-billion-dollar artery linking Crimea to mainland Russia. Putin called it a symbol of unity. But to Ukraine, it was always a symbol of theft, a steel chain strangling their sovereignty. And the message from Moscow was clear: Crimea is Russia forever. But in the cruel logic of war, forever lasts only until the first strike lands. And Ukraine just landed a thunderbolt. The buildup began quietly. Ukrainian drones, once seen as improvised tools of survival, evolved into precision instruments of war. These weren't random attacks. They were data-driven, GPS, AI-assisted killers, hunting for vulnerabilities. One radar blind spot here, an exposed ammunition dump, there each strike a note in a symphony of calculated destruction. The crescendo hit when Ukraine launched an audacious multi-front assault on Russian air power in Crimea. Sake Belbek, Gvardiskoy, names once synonymous with Kremlin bragging rights, are now etched into Russian history as sites of humiliation. Explosions ripped through these bases like Judgment Day. Hangars vanished in fireballs. Jets worth tens of millions of dollars became twisted metal sculptures. Fuel depots erupted like mini volcanoes, painting the Crimean sky in hellish orange. Eyewitnesses described shockwaves so intense they shattered windows miles away. Satellite imagery confirmed the carnage. Vast black craters where proud aircraft once gleamed under the Crimean sun. But the most damning image: dozens of scorched Su-30s and MiG-29s lined up like tombstones for Russian arrogance. And the question that haunted every Kremlin warlord was, where were the defenses? For months, Russian state TV worshipped the S-400 Triumph system, the so-called invincible guardian of Crimean skies. Yet, when the moment came, that billion-dollar beast performed like a paper tiger. Ukrainian drones slipped past radars like ghosts in the mist. Missiles rained down with surgical precision. Russian soldiers, trained to believe in their technological superiority, found themselves screaming into radios that offered no salvation. Panic spread like wildfire. Within hours, Russian telegram channels, usually buzzing with propagandists, descended into chaos. Frantic posts begged civilians to avoid certain areas. Videos emerged of fighter jets scrambling to take off under a rain of debris, fleeing north toward Krasnodar and Rostov like hunted prey. Think about that for a second. The same jets Russia flaunted as symbols of dominance are now running for their lives. And then came the masterstroke. The Kerch Bridge slammed shut. No civilian traffic. No military convoys. Nothing. Why? Because Moscow knows the next Ukrainian strike could turn that bridge into a floating graveyard. The last time Ukraine hit it, the Kremlin drowned in shame. This time, Putin can't afford another humiliation, not with his power already hanging by a thread, and on the ground, pure pandemonium. Imagine being a family in Sevastopol, a summer paradise, now a war zone. You hear the sirens, you see plumes of smoke curling into the sky. Telegram explodes with rumors. More strikes coming, air bases gone, bridge closed. Mothers packed clothes in trembling hands. Fathers curse in desperation as they join an endless line of cars snaking toward the Kerch Strait. But there's nowhere to go. Traffic jams stretch for miles. Gas stations run dry. Russian occupation police bark orders no one listens to. It's the collapse of order, live and unfiltered. Social media is awash with footage despite Moscow's censorship. Abandoned homes, looted shops, Crimean collaborators burning documents and hoarding cash before they bolt. And above this human tragedy, the sound of Ukrainian drones hums like a grim lullaby, promising more reckoning to come. But let's strip away the emotion for a moment and talk strategy. Why is Ukraine doing this now? Simple. Because Crimea is the heart of Russia's southern campaign. Every missile that strikes Odessa, every drone that terrorizes Mykolaiv, Every blockade, strangling Ukraine's grain exports, they all originate from Crimean bases. By decapitating these nodes, Ukraine isn't just defending itself. It's turning the tide of the war. Think logistics. Think supply lines. When ammo depots burn in Crimea, Russian troops in Zaporizhia starve for shells. When jets flee Crimean runways, Ukraine's skies grow safer. When the Kerch Bridge stays closed, every Russian battalion in southern Ukraine becomes a trapped animal, ripe for encirclement. This isn't chaos. It's chess-cold, brilliant chess, and Ukraine is 5 moves ahead. Consider the hardware. Western-supplied Storm Shadow and SCALP missiles have proven devastating, slamming into targets with meter-level accuracy. But the real game-changer, Ukraine's own ingenuity. Domestically produced long-range drones, costing a fraction of a Russian jet, are delivering catastrophic results. This is asymmetric warfare at its finest brains, defeating brawn, algorithms outsmarting outdated doctrines, and the numbers. In just 72 hours, Ukraine has reportedly destroyed or crippled over 27 Russian aircraft, multiple S-400 batteries, and stockpiles of missiles worth hundreds of millions. The Black Sea Fleet, once Putin's pride, is scattering like cockroaches. Warships cower in secondary ports, terrified of naval drones that strike like phantom torpedoes. Remember the Moskva? That was Act 1. We're in Act 3 now, and the finale promises to be spectacular. But beyond the tactics lies the psychological earthquake. For 2 years, Putin's propaganda machine sold Russians a lie. The war is far away, Crimea is safe. That illusion just died in a ball of fire. Russian social media is melting down. Angry posts curse incompetent generals. Soldiers' wives demand answers. Why weren't our boys protected? Meanwhile, whispers grow louder in Moscow's corridors. If Crimea falls, so does Putin. Because make no mistake, Crimea isn't just land. It's the cornerstone of Putin's legacy, the holy grail of his neo-imperial dream. Lose it, and he loses everything. Power, prestige, perhaps even his life. And that's why the Kremlin is desperate. Expect crackdowns. Expect mass arrests in Crimea. Expect even crazier threats of nuclear retaliation, empty bluffs from a regime drowning in fear. But here's the twist. Fear breeds mistakes. The more Putin threshes, the more brittle his system becomes. Every general he fires, every purge he orders, widens the cracks in his rotten empire. And Ukraine smells blood. With Western aid ramping up, drone production skyrocketing, and morale unshakable, Kyiv is poised for the ultimate prize, the full liberation of Crimea. Picture that moment. Ukrainian flags over Sevastopol, Russian warships rusting or sunk. The Kerch Bridge lying in ruins like the Berlin Wall of our time. That image isn't fantasy anymore. It's a scenario military analysts now openly discuss, and its ripple effect. Colossal. The myth of Russian invincibility dies. Autocrats worldwide tremble. NATO stands vindicated. And millions in occupied territories find hope again. But let's zoom out even further. This isn't just about borders on a map. This is about the future of global order. A Ukraine that liberates Crimea proves that courage plus innovation beats tyranny plus terror. It sends a thunderclap message to every dictator plotting conquest. Your time is over. And that's why we can't look away. Because what's unfolding in Crimea isn't just Ukraine's fight-fist history being written in real time, with fire and steel, with sacrifice and defiance. So, as jets flee, as bridges close, as panic ripples through the Kremlin, remember this: history belongs to the bold. And right now, Ukraine is bolder than ever. If you stand with that courage, if you believe the free world must not bow to bullies, then join this fight not with weapons, but with truth. Smash that like button, subscribe for more raw updates, and share this story so the lies of dictators never drown out the voices of the brave. Because together, we are more powerful than any tyrant. Slava Ukraini, glory to Ukraine. Stay informed, stay relentless, and never stop believing in a world where freedom wins.